Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another Marvel Rivals Ignite qualifier for Stage 1. Today, we are heading back over to Asia, and I believe this is the last replay I have been sent by the pro players. I'll be double checking, but I'm going to be moving over to the qualifier number 2s after this. So expect the videos in the future to be from qualifier number 2, and we'll be going over, obviously, in the Rivals Esports Recap News Show. We'll be going over a little bit of pre-recorded stuff to, know what happened, so that video will be very much spoilers. That will have been, by the time this video comes out, yesterday's video, so you can go check that out. Alright, we have a very intense matchup for you. There's another qualifying game, meaning the winner will be qualifying for Marvel Rivals Ignite. We have BeLikeXBE and Damage going up against each other today. It's a best of 3. Let's head on in. BeLikeXBE on the left, Damage on the right, and we are starting off on Krakoa. Also, if you are watching this on YouTube, then you may not have known that this cast was live streamed to Twitch. My Twitch is in the description, meaning you can head over there and you can watch me when I do these casts live sometimes. Meaning you get a little bit further ahead, a little preview. I won't be doing every cast live, but I might do 1 or 2. I don't want to burn myself out. Don't want to exhaust myself. So here we go. Also, that's why if you hear me interacting with the chat, that is why. So, we're starting off on Krakoa Domination. And we're starting off with the Spider-Man being banned away. Now, we have just not been seeing that outside of, like, OCE mostly. We're going to see it as a ban here in Asia today. The Human Torch, Groot, all so far have just been allowed through without being touched by either side. But Hela will get banned away, which increasingly empowers that Human Torch, makes it a lot harder to deal with. Incredible Hulk also going to be banned away. Lunar Snow on the board. Gives you a little bit of protection. Obviously drop that Snowflake onto the Human Torch, make it a little bit harder for them to go down, as you can sustain them while also just healing your front line. Keep it very simple. Looks like we're going to see the Psylocke protected. But not a lot else so far. Again, there is a little bit of anti-air now. Jeff going to be banned out. Oh yeah, we're on... no, this will still be on old patch. While I am on new patch, this game would have been played on old patch before the Jeff rework, so this is to avoid, with Lunar Snow on the board, the backline assassin style of Jeff play. Human Torch will finally get banned out, but this does allow Groot through the pick and ban phase. We also do have that Magneto Emma Frost team up together, as we prepare to head on in. There was a bit of a hover on to the Black Widow there for just a moment, but not going to get locked in. Captain America and Groot together, a little bit of backline dive, whereas it will be Emma Frost for the side of Damage. This is a best of 3, and of course each map, especially with Domination, comes down to a couple rounds as well. Let's head on in. We don't know a lot of these players, so let's introduce them. On the left-hand side, in the blue trunks, it is going to be BeLikeXBE with Xkale playing the Winter Soldier. Fish is going to be on that Loki. Bees will be on the Wolverine. Demise, I assume Demise. They will be playing that Lunar Snow. Slux will be on the Groot, and Adeline is playing the Captain America. And on the right, a player whose name I can't read is playing the Loki. I'll check that in a bit. Oh, good heavens. Xionghi Papa is going to be playing the Winter Soldier. XLX is on the Groot. Rerun 9726 on the Lunar Snow. Another name I unfortunately cannot read is playing the Psylocke. And Ugly Monkeys is going to be on the Emma Frost. Wolverine not even touched, banned, or protected this game, so that does leave a great opportunity to try and pick someone up if you can get onto that Groot, one of the main counters with percentage damage and the ability to isolate Groot away from his walls to really shut them down and punish them if they get caught out of position. Adeline taken out super early here as Beans is still looking for an opportunity. Regeneration Domain will keep them topped up for at least a little bit. Melting through the Emma Frost, but not enough to finish the job here as the healing output from damage is keeping everyone topped up so far. Three Monkeys holding the line. Beans dropping low once again, forced to back up, retreat. Not having the Snowflake on that Wolverine here makes it a little bit riskier. I'm not entirely sure who has the Snowflake. It's going to be the Winter Soldier. Relying on them as the main damage dealer, as the hyper carry almost here. The one who actually has to finish the job once Wolverine might be able to get isolations. Straggling Prison. Almost ready for XLX, but we already have Kraken Impact, Fate of Both Worlds. That's a beautiful hook! That's another great choice. Why we do... Wait for it. Wait for it. Ooh, does just get the reset in time. And XKL, there might still be some clones up high. Chased it deep, found them, but there's no finishing damage here. Not able to get any reset, but that's BeLikeXBE taking back control from damage here. Psylocke on the flank with the main entrance here, waiting for their team to rejoin. There were a couple Loki clones on the top here. I was waiting to see if Kale did jump onto them, but it looks like they were cleaned up. So there was no reset available at that location. Spore Bomb sent down in. Almost every ultimate is ready for damage right now. BeLikeXBE, they don't have Kraken Impact, they don't have Final Stand. Both their Vanguards are just about to get their heroics. That's a great lockdown onto XLS. A straggling Prison comes in from Slux. But is there enough damage to actually finish anyone? They're trying to wait out that Fate of Both Worlds before they drop a big ability like that Kraken Impact or the Dance of the Butterfly. Can they time it well? Here comes the clone from Fish to give them the second here. As Yoke goes down, that is going to be a great Psionic Seduction to try and hold people in place and keep them locked down. Fish is about to expire though, and as such, Dance of the Butterfly comes on in and finds nothing. Final Stand from Beans. They get frozen, but it's enough to clean out damage and keep BeLikeXBE on this point. %72 to 28 right now in favor of BeLikeXBE holding the lead. Thank you to Kale, by the way, for sending in these replays. XLX swapping to the cap. Give them a little bit of mobility. Someone who's very hard to pin down to jump onto that point and delay. Buy time for the team if they need to make their way in. Strange was not banned out, so they have the possibility to swap onto Strange, get that porcelain, and make their way back onto the point, but they get pulled in. Bionic Hook forced to jump out, but staying mobile, they've been able to activate the overtime, at least give their team an opening. They're going to start making their way back, take out some of these Loki clones, gets isolated by Wolverine. XLX in full retreat, getting dropped low. They need some healing, but in the meantime, straggling Prison from Slux into the Kraken Impact of Kale, who cleans up here. And that is going to be round number 1 of game number 1, going over to BeLikeXBE. The Cradle taken by BeLikeXBE as we head over to the Grove in this game number 1. Are we going to see any compositional adjustments? That Winter Soldier has now is still being protected here. Oh, Invisible Woman.
30 seconds before you
Mixing it up a little bit here. Star-Lord making their way onto the board. A little bit of extra range, some fly, and of course some invulnerability frames. Try and get some pressure onto the backline, and they may be committing to this as we see the Adam Warlock being considered. Looks like they're still indecisive, haven't decided. They might be running solo Vanguard though, as they're running triple Duelist right now of Ugly Monkeys, swapping over to that Wolverine. And of course already having that Star-Lord, leaving just XLX to frontline alone. Could be risky as the Star-Lord did make their way onto the board with that Adam Warlock. They now do have that extremely hard to take down combo. Mantis is here as well for the full Guardian Rejuvenation team up. That was a big pickup using the jetpack from the Rocket BRB to try and isolate the groups, but a fate of both worlds comes in from both sides. It's only going to be one person taken down, but Adam already returns from the cocoon. Beans with the dive from the last stand to try and take him down, but the Soul Rejuvenation keeps damage upright this time. They are tanking through this. It's counter, final stand, tries to find the right target, not able to get a good angle here as in comes the Freedom Charge from Adelan to try and lock them down. Psionic Seduction and the Galactic Legend, again, finding basically no one. Regeneration Domain to try and stop it. And no one's going down. Finally, we're starting to see BeLikeXBE pick up the eliminations as they will clean up the board here. And it looks like the Grove, first points going over to BeLikeXBE. Shots, keeping everyone zoned away. Looking for the first engage. They know Wolverine's around this area, but they don't know exactly where. Star-Lord coming in to duel, to harass, to be irritating. Prepare for zoning. Blaster Barrage. Onto the point, Kraken Impact. 4x Kale. Triple, quadruple, quintuple. Wait for it. Sextuple. Sniped there by Adeline, preventing the Hexer. But that is a full team wipe by BeLikeXBE. 38% and counting as they are in full control of this game number one right now. Up to the high ground. Ugly Monkey was able to isolate Group, gets pulled back by Seong. Sorry, by Kale. Final stand by Beans. Fish able to get the finishing blow onto the Adam Warlock. And this is looking like it might be dominant damage. They can't even leave base right now. The containment has been set up. Psychic Spear, a little bit of damage. Not enough for a finishing blow. Cosmic Clusters for some quick burst damage onto Fish to try and chase them down. This is potentially Damage's last chance as Adeline diving into the backline, creating delays, creating distractions. 75%, running out of time. Kraken Impact, and last stand. Reset number one for Seong. That's a fate of both worlds, though, could shut this down. Immediately into the God of Mischief for that second fate of both worlds to try and delay here. Rio with their own fate of both worlds, just both teams are matching. Differences, Soul Rejuvenation coming up for Mantis. There's a time a little bit better, meaning damage will actually have more sustained for longer as they are cleaning up here. Finally taking the advantage as Adeline is going to drop that Freedom Charge. They're going to try and hold this, even though they have lost two members. They're still holding. They take out Mantis, who will return immediately. Kraken Impact from Kale came out, but they can't find the second reset. It's so low, but no reset. Final stand to buy the time. And Red Team is starting to disintegrate, but they are still cleaning up when needed. Diamond Form. The Straggly Prison comes out, finds nothing. But look at this. Suddenly XLX is left alone on the board. The team needs to turn around and come for the reinforce. That is perfect. That is a karmic revival to keep the team up. Adam Warlock is finally going to drive back BeLikeXBE as damage will hold the line.
We are on our way to victory.
Some assistance, please.
Cosmic Cluster sent in.
I feel better already. Healing power.
Xionghi Papa capitalizing and acting exactly when needed to in that last round. Instead of getting a tainted shock. Tries to Bionic Hook, does not find it. Now it's up to Kale. If Kale can find one of their own, they might be able to get a great isolation, especially if they can grab that Groody to avoid the Wolverine, though. Take it down as Ugly Monkey is capitalizing, going very aggressively, trying to get into these backline members, all these strategists.
Let's do this.
Tries to get the Lunar Snow, does not land the target, and is now getting countered on here. Beans trying to take him down. It's a full chase here to try and remove Ugly Monkeys from the board.
Halfway point.
53% currently in favor of BeLikeXBE on 99, but damage hold the point. Mantis dropping a little bit of preliminary damage. Beans diving forward onto Ugly Monkey to try and hold the line here. Tainted Shot coming out.
I am healed.
Vibranian Saw for a little bit of extra damage. Try and weaken those backline members. Look for an opening as Fate of both worlds. It's going to be forced down potentially a little bit early here. Here comes Yogi into the backline. We'll crack an impact to take out the Loki code first. Up for the second one. Doctor's final stand. Drops on top of it here to look for Wolverine or Captain America. Soldier's Fist. It's another reset. But can they find a target? Looks like XKL is going to be the target, but it will get taken down here. Fish with that Fate of both worlds keeping the team up. Freedom charge to hold them together here with the Clash being given the option with the Bucky. It's overtime for both sides. Whichever team wins this fight is going to take this round. And if it's BeLikeXBE, they take the game. Xiong is charging in with that portal as fast as they can to give their team reinforcements. Karmic Revival, double reinforcements. But Adeline is already there, already harassing the back. Going to get locked down here. Charged by Ugly Monkeys to hold the team together. Everyone is dropping low on the side of damage, but they are still giving it everything they can here. Adeline chasing deep. If they can take out the Luna, it's some of all the best healing output. Xcale, the Kraken impact landed, reset number one, but they are locked down with the slumber. And Mantis just got soul rejuvenation. If they can drive them back, it might be over. They might be evening this up in round number one, and they do. Damage will take the round, and we are heading to round number 3 of game number 1, heading to the carousel. One to one in this best of 3 series game number 1. Plenty of time to go, and already these teams matching each other so evenly. Xiong will swap back to the Winter Soldier here. They did build up some ult charge on that Doctor Strange, but they've decided against it. You can see the BRB being set up there for the Rockets Packed Lunch and for the Wolverine delivery system. Guess that jump pack will back away. Looks like BeLikeXBE, they've decided that they are done. With no Groot on the board, the Wolverine has been put to the side for the moment and has been swapped back to the Psylocke for Beans here. Going for a little bit of burst. Both teams with the Groot available, left completely untouched. And they're both ignoring it. Because the Wolverines were proving to be too good of a counter in those early stages. They've just both transitioned away from it. Ugly Monkey will be staying with that Wolverine, though. Still going to be looking for targets to isolate. XLX. Stepping forward, but nobody to get caught out of position. On the lines, trying to get ready to drop down to that low ground, committing a little bit early as they've already final standed, and that soul rejuvenation from the Mantis to keep the team topped up to chase on in as Beans is in full retreat, gets slumbered again here. Map heal, and they realize it's over. They just take it down. They realize they're not getting out. They don't want to get staggered, so it's better just to sacrifice themselves, come back with the rest of their team, as that is a dominant early start from Damage, who are back in this. BeLikeXBE dominated the first round of this game, and they are trying to close this down and set themselves up in a 1-0 lead. Young Soldier's Fist for a little bit of a disengage after they got harassed a little bit. Don't want to get caught out. The Captain America has also been abandoned as we are now on to that Emma Frost here for Adeline. Silent Seduction did lock down the Adam Warlock, but that's going to be too much protection from Rira with that Fate of both worlds, keeping the teams topped up. Demise with the same side. Look at the backline dive here. Diamond form, Crystal Kick. That is a great pickup for Adeline. Taking full control, counter, Karmic Revival in the bushes, full stealth so they can make their way down from the low ground, but their team is slowly getting picked up, being forced to revive. Final stand to try and take out some of those frontliners, but they're completely outnumbered. Dance of the Butterfly on the respawning members to clean them up, and that Karmic Revival might just be delivering more bodies to the board. That's going to be a Media M. That's going to be an eliminate Seonghun, and Slux will not find anything with the Media M because there's no people left to conquer. That will be a fight won by BeLikeXBE. Lots of ultimates used on both sides, but they're starting to get back on the board themselves. 62% for damage, 12 for BeLikeXBE, and climbing. Fish setting up the Loki firing squad. Making making it very difficult for Damage to even step up onto the point without taking a pretty significant amount of damage right off the bat. Silent Seduction once again for XLX, and look, there's very little defensive ultimates available right now. All that's left is that God of Mischief for Fish, where they're holding on to it, but already Seogho is going down, already XLX is getting focused here. Beans will take out Mantis on the backline. Georga swapped over to Storm to try and turn this round. Star-Lord completely abandoned, but they're still running that Adam Warlock. Xkale waiting for anyone to try something. Kraken Impact is sitting there, looking for the big blow-ups. Silent Seduction coming in from Adeline once again to set up for the Kraken Impacts. Gets locked down completely though by XLX. As Seong on this Storm is going to try and burst this through. That's going to be the fate of both worlds. From Rira to match demise. Dance of the Butterfly. And we see Seong, he dropping down to the ground so that they can be healed up by that fate of both worlds and keep their team sustained. But Wolverine is chasing in and allows them to clean up all of the defenders. And Damage are once again back on the board. Wait, held before the point gets swapped over. 87% and still counting for, well, almost for BeLikeXBE as it will finally go over to Damage. There's too many people cleaned out, but that portal, they're still trying to rush in. They're still reinforcing, but it's like they're being spawn camped right now. Taken down one by one. We will see Seong go down though. Karmic Revival at the ready, but the patience that we will see from this Adam, not going to pull the trigger. Just letting it go. Iron Fist for the final push here. 87 to 87. As BeLikeXBE, winner of this round, takes game number 1. Going to pre-heal, trust their team to touch the point and get the overtime with that little bit of overhealth to dive onto the point, taking a lot of damage here. Needs the healing, and there it is, fate of both worlds from that God of Mischief from Fish to try and hold this together. That's going to be a Silent Seduction to try and lock them down. Magneto's going to block a lot of it. The healing output will prevent much from coming of this though, but Ugly Monkey, final stand to wipe out the backline. That's going to be a regeneration domain coming in. Omega Hurricane to try and take out any of the other defenders, but they're so mobile. 99% currently. There's 5 bodies for Damage on the board as BeLikeXBE have won. Captain America tries to delay, but that is going to be game number 1 going over to Damage. What a match so far. This is just game number 1 of the best of 3, and already we're seeing an incredible setup. All right, I'm going to go and be respectful here, and, well, as respectful as I can be, and get up Google Translate and try and work out what these names say. Let's see what we got. Translate. See who we are. Hello, Mixin and Lunar Dark Angel. Reminder for people who are watching on the YouTube that this was live streamed. You can come next time and come say hello. Okay, this one is Gamebo. It seems to assume it is Gamebo. And this one is Affection. Gotcha. Alright, so the Mantis is Affection. The Adam Warlock is Gamebo, according to the setup. So, let's have a look at the statistics here. Top eliminations goes over to Beans with 33, but only barely. 29 for Xkale and Adeline, 25s and 26s across the board. This is a very spread out game in terms of eliminations. Top final, least amount of times getting eliminated. That one is a little more clear cut. There's a couple 6s, but only 1 5. That is once again going to be Beans, which is impressive as they were frontlining earlier on today. With that Wolverine. Very risky, very good chance that you can feed on that character if you're not playing incredibly well. Top final hits, 17 for Xkale. Over half of their total eliminations were final hits. Unsurprisingly, you see them quite high up in the damage output here. 30Ks in a couple cases, 28 for Xkale, but 31 for Seonghi Papa, playing mostly that Winter Soldier, one time playing a Doctor Strange, and then Storm for the latter part of that game, ending up with 31K by the end. Top damage blocked, 55K for Slux. Really just tried to absorb as much as they could, gave everything for their team. Just behind them, XLX also who is solo tank for a chunk of that game and was still out-tanked by Slux, but also ended up getting eliminated one time less. And healing. 51k for Fish. They will be getting a solid 7k more healing than Rira. But of course, with a triple heal setup, it's not too surprising to see your healing outputs spread between multiple people. Hard damn. Alright, let's head back to me and get us set up for map number 2. As Damage takes the lead in this best of 3 series. Hello everyone who's jumping in on the live stream. YouTube audience, come hang out next time. Come be friends. For the people who just joined on the live stream, this is a best of 3. This is from qualifier number 1. Winner qualifies. This is why this chat is not on stream, not on screen, so the YouTube video does not get spoiled. Obviously, they can just go to Wikipedia if they did want to spoil themselves. But we try to avoid it as best we can as is. Alright, that's loading up. And let's head on in to game number 2 of this best of 3 series. The teams have swapped sides. Damage now on the left. Starting off on defense of Simbartic Surface with BeLikeXBE now on the right. They will be starting off on attack as we head into the drafting phase. Magic going to be the first priority here. I feel like some of these may be some target bans between these teams, as they obviously will know each other a bit more, as we have seen a very sharp decline in Magic play this season. Same as Spider-Man. Going to be banned away again. But Emma Frost protected for the second game in a row. This means we'll likely see a Magneto on the board. The question is, will Groot get banned? We thought about it. We thought we'd see it, but no. Unlike every other region where it's sort of Groot and Human Torch every single game, this time, not going to be seeing it. And again, this is pre the patch. Luna. Going to be protected once again. This does make your flyers a little bit more useful. And does buff the Wolverine as well. Put a snowflake on it. Means Wolverine can play a little bit greedier. The Hulk taken out once again. Again, something that happens a little bit less often in the Western games of the Americas and EMEA. That's Hela. Going to be banned out once again. And again, the Human Torch becomes extremely viable. The question is, do either of these teams actually want to protect it? Or are they just trying to create fear, to actually create that worry? Wolverine, once again on the board. Again, Groot, Torch, both still available. Star-Lord and Adam Warlock, both also still available. You can try and kind of force the issue here. Magneto is also here to make the Emma Frost team up very effective. Captain America. A little bit of backline pressure. Both teams found a bit of use for that. Final ban for each team. Will any of these high priority heroes get taken out? It's going to be Winter Soldier. BeLikeXBE have got to be Grooting after that. Come on. Wolverine is on the board. Jeff taken out for the second time in a row by Damage. There's got to be some target banning. Be a Black Panther being hovered by beads, but they are on attack. I don't know if that'll make it out of spawn. There is also a Hawkeye. That one might make it out of spawn. This is a very long and fairly open point between spawn and the first objective. You can really get value out of those long-range characters like the Hawkeye, like the Black Widow. You can really find some value here. Even without the Incredible Hulk, we are seeing the hover for the Iron Man coming in from Seonghi Papa.
We'll be coming in 30 seconds. Stay strong.
Gives them a lot of potential here. Ooh. Oh, this is dirty. This is dirty. Now, there was a theory a while ago that if you portal, why are you portaling people off the map when you can portal them to the other side of the map and waste significantly more time?
2, 1. You have to stop them from securing the
Ooh, I
missionary.
don't think anyone fell for that. Also, I think it's facing the wrong way. I think that's facing the sky. I don't think that would work. Hang on, I'm going in. Yeah, we'll just go up and down. Little bit of a misplace here.
Farewell.
And as such, BeLikeXBE will make it out of spawn. They're going to portal themselves here with a turret for Xcale. No one there, though. They've portaled. And they swap over to what they want to do. Here comes the Hawkeye. And again, the portal is facing a little bit of the wrong way here. Not having a best angle for finding targets. Job on that Iron Man already getting dropped low. Hawkeye tracking them down here. Gonna get topped up. Beans on the chase, on the hunt. There's Iron Man. Would be a beautiful target if they can take him down. Loki also good. That's going to be great. Lunar Snow goes down, but Excellence takes out Demise as well. So both teams losing their Lunar Snow. Adeline on the front line trying to keep the zoning set up for their team. Seong forced down to the low ground, will melt Beans. But Beans took out the Loki in the meantime, meaning a lot less healing for Seong, who drops some missiles in case they're being chased. Trying to get onto the pointers right now. It looks like BeLikeXBE have dominated this, cleaning it out, and that is point number 1 in pretty good time. Going over to BeLikeXBE as they continue the chase in, looking for that Iron Man if they show their head. Then Hawkeye is going to be trying to land those shots. Hits one. The healers are all here, though. Strategist will keep them topped up. And as long as she doesn't stay in one spot for too long, they should be safe enough. The duel continues. Trying to find the right angle. Beans having a bit of a less fun time about it. They're looking to try and burst people. Hawkeye charging in. Finds Seong, but it's not enough for the finishing blow. Can't take out anyone, actually. It's a full retreat. Seong will finally get chased down by Beans. As damage are being routed here. BeLikeXBE are currently dominating this push. Very little resistance is being seen by the side of damage, but so far is the key word we'll add to the end of that. Key 2 words. The monkey up to the high ground. Kale. Xcale looking to see if they can catch anyone out of position. Not going to be finding it. As in comes Bast is sent to try and burst on through. Immediately forces out a Fate of both worlds. But that's good news. It's a big ability to waste. Still going to try and reset their way through the majority of the fight. There's a Fate of both worlds. Will to help them tank on through the Eye of Agamotto as no one's going down yet. Slugs and a Meteor Ram will take out Rira. That's going to be an incredible final stand from Monkey. But is there the follow-up to get those finishing blows as they are tanking through? Thanks to Fish with the God of Mischief onto that Fate of both worlds, allowing them to sustain on through. Adeline dropping low though, trying to hold together as they will go down to Ugly Monkey, who is currently all alone, trying to hold the line. Cart moves forward, and even with that pickup, that is going to be BeLikeXBE grabbing point number 2 as well. And with 4.5 minutes to go, they are heading towards a triple cap. We're back onto the Star-Lord composition. Seong Papa. On the Star-Lord, we have once again the Adam Warlock.
I require some aid.
For that little bit of burst healing, and of course that extra revive. Beans is still just charging through both teams, just being an absolute menace. But can Gamebo keep the team up? They do, of course, have that Soul Bond, a great burst protector, but it's a long cooldown in between it being dropped. Galactic Legend with Bast descent. Bast does take out that Adam Warlock in the backline. Beans gets taken out by Seong Hee, making it a 1-for-1. Difference is Adam Warlock returns, meaning damage. They keep the momentum going. They're trying to keep this driven back. But BeLikeXBE are currently closer to their spawn and keep the pressure on. Down goes Star-Lord. Has Cocoon, though, should be able to return if they can find a safe location, which they do. A little bit behind, a little bit of damage to Slux. Well, that is very deep indeed. Invasive maneuvers. They get out of there, dropping directly into a Fate of Both Worlds. Blaster Mirage to keep the team topped up. Gonna try and lock them down. That's gonna be a Psionic Seduction to match up the monkeys that just expired to try and lock them down. With Hunter Sight to get the finishing blows, taking off the Adam Warlock. Media M blocked with the Mind's Aegis here. With Fish keeping the team topped up. BeLikeXBE are dominating this fight right now. Nope, never mind. Down goes Beans, down goes Annalyn, and we start to see a huge turnaround. 2 minutes and 41 seconds left. We're at 115 meters and 38 centimeters. Backing away, doesn't want to get taken out. Beans catching a couple strays, but still joining up with the rest of the team. Wrapping around, looking for a group up of enemies for some reset spin kicks. We'll land that javelin first. That's a javelin. That is a huge blow up, taking out the Loki here. Removed from the board. Affection taken down. Karmic Revival from Gamebo, which does bring back Loki, who's able to drop a regeneration domain and keep the team topped up. Surviving Beans, who tries to reset through the entire team. Kale is going into the cave, trying to find anyone to get a pickup on. Finds one, finds two. Demise takes out Seong-hee, and that card is moving in real fast. 3 members on the board. Fate of Both Worlds gonna be dropped with the God of Mischief. Affection buying time. They know they're not surviving this, but they're giving their team time to respawn. Otherwise, this could have just ended here. Galactic Legend. Meteor M is shutting it down, though, but they're still going to try and maximize damage output to try and buy that little bit of extra time. Can't find any targets. Black Panther in the backline. Blaster Mirage, the real Fate of Both Worlds from Rira to try and buy time. They get taken out here. Sniped off the board by XKale, who with a Fate of Both Worlds from Fish. That is BeLikeXBE grabbing the triple cap in game number 2. With 1 minute to go, we start to swap sides.
You'll need a top-notch team to win this one.
Do we see any adjustments? Seong-hee Papa thinking about running a Black Panther of their own this time. Again, we have not seen much of like any of these type of dive heroes. It's mostly been like Captain America and Psylocke for like the EMEA and the N8 and the Americas teams. Dark Angel in the chat says, no idea what's going on, but your casting is on point as always. Well, thank you. I appreciate it. Getting set up, and oh, here we go. Finally, a Human Torch makes an appearance, as he was not bad out at all, and yet no one wanted to play him. However, this is the matchup where a Human Torch is going to have to deal with a Hawk Eye. So much damage output. Long range, one of the best options. If you can land those hits, the burst damage is so effective. Both Storm and the Human Torch could be in danger. As such, we are seeing the immediate swap from Affection onto the Invisible Woman. That Guardian Shield is going to be potentially the do or, well, get eliminated for those flyers to keep them protected from all that burst damage. Seong sending in a couple shots right off the bat here. Pyro Prison. Seeing if they can get set up and find anyone for some early pickups. You see Kale on the side looking for a snipe, looking for an angle as Beans finds a double once again. And that looks like it might be a team wipe as XLX has just retreated all the way back to spawn. They will prevent the full ace. But their push has been put to a complete halt here. Kale looking for a couple early shots. Not finding anyone as of yet. Beans waiting for anyone to step out of position so that they can be punished at this early stage. Keep them locked down for another minute. Finds XL. Reason number 1. Will get them out of danger. Not enough for the finishing blow, but that's enough to drive XLX back. Stop them from making any aggressive moves. Good arrow shots coming in here. Human Torch, though, is starting to whittle down. You can see the health bars of BeLikeXBE starting to dissipate ever so slowly. Storm has been abandoned as Gamebo is back on the Adam Warlock, leaving this as a solo duelist composition for Seonghee Papa. This composition was all the rage in Season 1. Now, can they make it work here in Season 2? Trying to melt them as best they can. Soul Rejuvenation and Supernova. There it is to maximize the damage. Media M to block it right away. Evasive maneuvers will sidestep it and get at least a couple of those flame tornadoes in to buy some of the counter damage. They're trying to melt them through, but that Fate of both worlds from Fish with that God of Mischief is keeping them topped up. Both teams with the Psionic Seduction as XLX hits the last button available and tries to dive in. They might as well commit everything now, because if Adam stays up, no, Adam is down! Beans not able to find the reset, gets taken down, and it looks like even without the Adam, the aggression has worked out as damage are starting to drive back BeLikeXBE, and we are going to see the retreat try to rush back in, but can they reach it in time? Looks like no. They move to the defensive position as point 1 is grabbed by damage. BeLikeXBE already tried to set themselves up into those defensive positions, but damage finally deciding to pull out the Human Torch are just trying to melt through these defensive points, punish them for being in one spot for too long, but it's all about shots again. It only takes 2. If Kale can land those hits, it is an easy elimination onto the Flyers. It's just all about the movement, the targeting. Soulbond was dropped for the members on the cart to keep it pushing. Damage trying to mitigate some. Seonghee Papa will back away here. Beans on the flank, trying to take out all these multiple backliners. Will get a quick shield from the Magneto to keep them going. A Supernova coming out once again, and that's a lot of low health bars from the side of BeLikeXBE as Demise is taken out, removing one of the strategists. All that's left is Fish, and they're not going to be able to do anything, as that is going to be a huge wipe here. Fish finally falls, and damage will keep pushing in. Beans on the retreat. They're going to back away along with Demise, who was not able to get there in time. They'll wait for their team to get here so they can try and contest together. Using the Mantis damage boost onto the Human Torch, who already has some of the highest damage in the game, to really capitalize, to really try and make something happen, as Beans says, you know what, there's a flyer here, I'm going to kick it. Starting to make their way in, taking a little bit of damage, but sustaining through, tiny bit of percentage damage to try and make that Everfrost's life a little bit harder. Finds the torch, Psionic Seduction onto the point, up to the high ground where there's going to be a Karmic Revival coming on in, but does not commit to it. Can't really seem to find a solid target here at this early stage, but it's still getting some pretty decent damage. There's the Freedom Charge as Kale is looking for those ghosts to try and aim onto those shadows. Lovely pickup, finds Seonghee, but will go down. The bodies are falling. Down goes Adam, who does have Cocoon to try and delay this. Beans is relentless here, but has percentage damage, but it's not enough to take out that Emma. Ugly Monkeys healed back to full. Seonghee portaling in so they can keep trying to push this. Damage not giving up. They still got a minute to go. Living Weapon into the backline to take out Adam. No more ghosts this time, no more regenerative cocoons. Ugly Monkeys, percentage damage from that Iron Fist takes out the backliners and continues to turn their attention onto Emma. Take them down, but taking too much damage, forced to retreat. Regeneration domains, and turns the attention to the extremely isolated Doctor Strange down. Down goes Cap. And it looks like BeLikeXBE will hold this. Heal up and a little bit of overhealth just in case. Seonghee to Black Panther here. Damage. They swap characters so often. Realizing that the Iron Fist is on the board, they pick something that's fast, can't really be tracked by it effectively because it's just moving too much. don't have to worry about being targeted down as that Human Torch anymore. In the meantime, though, Beans is still chasing down everyone else who isn't in that situation. Ugly Monkey, Psionic Seduction to try and pull in the members of BeLikeXBE. Fate of both worlds will have to try and sustain through this, but Fish is still taken out by XLX. Xionghe resets through the team as overtime is about to hit. How long can they delay a Slux? Media M takes out the Warlock. Fate of both worlds to try and keep the team topped up to hold it together. Fish with the God of Mischief so they can get their own Fate of both worlds. This will be the last defensive ultimate that is at the ready here. XLX with the freedom charge so they can keep buying some time for their team. Dance of the Butterfly is here for XKale, dropping a bomb onto the strategist. Takes out 1, 2, and looks for a third with Living Weapon active. It's about to be a complete cleanup. There is nothing Damage can do, as that will be a cleanup and a hold by the side of BeLikeXBE. They take game number 2 and will take our series to a 1-1. Winner qualifies for Marvel Rivals Ignite, earning that opportunity to compete for that $3 million prize pool and their spots in the international events in the mid-season and the grand finals in November. You got to be in it to win it. But they have to be able to get there. Whichever team can take this will be qualifying. And honestly, at this rate, both deserve it. Remember, this is qualifier number 1, so both will have had another chance by the time this video comes out, and I'll be recording any videos I can of that, asking players for replays once again as best I can, so I can get those replays to you if I can help it. Let's look at the statistics. Top eliminations. 30 eliminations for Beans. Doing huge numbers here. Only getting taken out 5 times, which is the 3rd lowest in the game, with 2 people only getting taken out 4 times in the form of Fish and Demise, but only 1 person only getting taken out once, and that was Slux, who has done so much work for their team. There was a Cloak and Dagger at the end of that game. I completely missed that. Completely missed that swap. Most final hits is going to be the 17 of Beans, who again, some incredible swaps, a terrifying melee player, able to create some problems for the enemy team. Top damage, pretty close here. 26k by Ugly Monkeys might be enough in some other games, but in this case, Kale on that Hawkeye, and then the Psylocke at the end, 28k. Able to just do the job they needed, swapping over to that Psylocke when they realized the Hawkeye was no longer needed. A sensible rotation. This is what we like to see. We like to see players that swap when it makes sense. Don't just stick with the character that's working just because it's working, because then you'll eventually get outpaced when your opponents adjust first. You got to make sure you're on point. Top damage blocked. 36k, again, would normally be enough. 29k might even be enough. But 45k for Ugly Monkeys. Doing insane work. Nearly the highest damage done. Definitely the highest damage blocked. They are absorbing. Being a bulwark for their team while getting 7 final hits themselves. And top healing. Very close. 36k for Demise. 37k for Fish. 38k for Rira, which is so impressive considering that they were essentially a triple strategist composition for the majority of that game. An impressive matchup. As such, though, we now have a map number 3 to get ready for. Let me get us ready for that to decide who will qualify between Damage and BeLikeXBE. Let's get that replay code. It's that one. There we go. Oh, it's toasty here today. It's another scorcher here in the UK. Roasting me alive as always. We love to see it. And a very quick load. We love to see that. I'm glad that my computer, even in all this heat, seems to be holding up and the stream's mostly fine. I think it's moaning that my bitrate's a bit too high, and I don't think that's affecting the stream too much, though. So I think we're okay at the moment. I mean, I can see frames dropped 0, so let me know in the chat so I can look at the end to see like how it's doing. As let's head into game number 3. We're heading to Spider Islands as our final map. Convoy will be where this ends. With the exception of a tie. It is legitimately possible to tie on this map. So that it's not like domination where there is no way to tie. It is absolutely possible that neither team gets any distance or both teams get 3 out of 3 and then also 3 out of 3 again. It is possible. If that happens, we head to a map number 4. But for all intents and purposes, this is probably going to be the final map. Magic taken out again, as is Spider-Man. Winter Soldier this time will be protected. Loki, removed from play, was a great counter to that backline dive we just saw there. Which is interesting, because it would be a pretty reasonable way to try and deal with beans, but it's damage. Who ban it out. Wolverine, this time taken away. The Groot is starting to look extremely appealing. What is the next protection? Jeff is protected, so it wasn't just a we think it's strong or we're like trying to troll. They definitely know something. And BeLikeXBE this time, they're going to protect it, not let damage ban it out again. With the Hulk also going to get protected here. We now are open to Iron Man. We're open to Namor to deal with backline divers. A lot of options just became available. And we're going to at least remove some of them. Captain America is one of the better at dealing with people like Namor, for example, because they're a bit more resilient. Can survive the damage from the Monstros a little bit easier. The final ban of this series. They take out Adam Warlock. Damage have shown they've got some flexibility. They're leaving up Iron Man and Namor. And choosing to remove those revives that have caused them a little bit of difficulty so far. So now, damage. You protected the Hulk. What are you doing? Fish is living up to their name. Here comes the Jeff. With the Lunar Snow. This is pre the nerf to Jeff. Meaning that they can run in with this flanking Jeff style. They're thinking about it, though. Not, by the looks of it, sure they want to commit. Looks like Beans might want to be the guy who's flanking and diving. Not willing to let Fish do the same. We'll have to see. Alright. Final matchup. There's a Hela. A little bit of burst as once again the Human Torch goes completely unbanned. Iron Fist. This time on the other side. Gamebo going to be picking that up. Whereas Affection starting us off on that rocket for that BRB Rockets Pack Clutch. And there we go. They are hulking. And they're going to put it on Namor. Snowball comes out very quickly, but not much is found from it. So, this means that Black Panther can dive in. And Namor's going to be trying to flank while doing a little bit of protection for the backline. Gamma Monstro targeted down extremely quickly as Seong-hee is already down. Beans, normally a backline diver on the Winter Soldier this time. And doing an insane job dropping Namor extremely low, who pushed up. What a beautiful pickup. Just saw that bubble and was like, absolutely not. You don't get to push up in bubble when you're one hit. Beans finding their target beautifully here. X-Tail also landing a lot of shots. Seong-hee dropped low. Soul Siphon not able to find the finishing blow. Shots being traded back and forth. Astral Flock up to the roof to try and see if they can find anyone on that backline who'd be an easy pickup. Instead, just going to take out the Monstros. targets. Oh, XLX has disconnected. That is the worst possible time for that to happen. Gamebo backing out, gets a little bit of protection from the Mantis. No damage boost, just a little bit of healing boost for now. Xionghe trying to hold the line. They have Kraken Impact if their team can get the setup, which could be the Kraken, could be that Horde of Proteus. That might allow them to get an engage opportunity. If not, Psionic Seduction would be the tool they need. But without the Hulk, that Namor is suddenly extremely weaker. But they have ult. They don't want to swap off it yet.
I've got you covered.
Beans holding the line. XLX is back. In the process of reconnecting and loading into the game, meaning that there is still hope for damage. BeLikeXBE though. Hella still on the high ground, looking for the opportunity. Good shots. Trying to get onto those backliners. Just going to Astral Flock to get out of danger. Soul Rejuvenation expiring here. For affection, fate of both worlds. Horde of Proteus finds no one here. Meteor from Slux able to take out Rira as Kale takes to the sky. And with the Goddess of Death, they take out Seong and chase down the rest. And even with everyone back in this game, BeLikeXBE continue the containment. They were containing them before the disconnect. They were containing them during the disconnect. And they're still containing them. Rira dropped low. Couple hits onto the other side. Kraken Impact for Beans. Counter for Xionghe Papa. Immediately into an invisible boundary so they can absorb it, snowball to buy some time, and taken out. This puts all of the damage focus currently onto Gamebo, who will go down again. 45 seconds left, but at least they don't have far to go to get to the cart for that overtime. Currently around 48 meters, the furthest they have managed. Adelaide making their way back. They were taken out in the last fight, choosing not to portal in. Say that when it's needed. Great pickup, taking out Fish. Onto the back line. The burst is huge. Astral Flock has to come out. And suddenly, Damage, living up to their name, they are cleaning up here. Slux. Is it portal time? Strange was not banned out, but no Slux walking back. Every inch matters here, and they're still walking. Kraken Impact to try to get the defenders, but they will go down. Here comes Slux. They walked back to the spawn to portal in. The cart's moving in. They've got to make their way in and touch that cart before it goes down. Psionic Seduction from one side. Strange dropping in from the other. But now with that portal, they have given their team a way to make their way into the point. That's a Psionic Seduction with the counter. Horde of Proteus to try and set them up to try and take out BeLikeXBE. But they are tanking through for the moment with that fade of both worlds expiring. But Kale gets out with almost no HP remaining. They take to the sky with that Goddess of Death. They're being focused down by the Monstros, and the damage is being blocked beautifully by the side of Gamebo. Holding the line as best they can. Cloak and dagger for Xionghe Papa to give their team a little bit of extra stain onto the point, and they have cleaned them out. BeLikeXBE lose the first point, and Damage are still in it despite the disconnect. Despite what looked like a hopeless containment, they find their second win in that final push, and they make their way back onto the point. Beans back onto old reliable. Gonna rotate around up to the high ground as they immediately find Namor, but will back away. They don't want to get caught out and just completely focused down by Monstros. Being getting focused down, Slux not in the best position here. Hulk is hyper aggressive. Will be forcing them to retreat back into the base to get healed up to full as Damage continue to hold the line here as Xionghe. Usually the damage here on the Cloak and Dagger, keeping the team topped up beautifully. Pushing on in. Keep the team topped up. Beans. Ayamagamoto. Frostlocks is completely blocked by the diamond form. Invisible barrier completely blinded out, but it's enough to take down Rira. And they also lose affection. Everyone is getting focused down here. Namor is taken out. Beans is continuing to just focus on the flank here. Invisible wall up the top there, but it's high enough that Beans can still get a pretty solid position where they've got some good scouting. And they can still get over it. Make their way into the backline to focus onto the strategists here. Nope, never mind. Retreat. I've made a mistake. Dragon kick to get out. Psionic seduction pulls them in as they are still getting focused down, but they tank through with 20 HP. Here comes the Hulk. XLX in the Monstro form. Locks down the Invisible Woman and absolutely deletes them. Charging in right now. Oh my god, XLX, full of the rage of someone who disconnected in what could be the most important game of their career, and they are bringing it back right now. Slux portaling in for another hold as the portal comes off cooldown, going to try and take this with the fate of both worlds being dropped by Demise and Rira to hold the line. Kale takes to the sky. Goddess of Death to try and focus on the backliners, takes down Seonghi, takes down Affection. Getting focused down by the Monstro. Soul Siphon. That's a very low board with overtime ticking down. Is there anyone left to portal in? Someone should have swapped to portal. No one has swapped to portal. And with that damage, will be stopped here. 1 point. 116 meters. 52 centimeters. And hello, Guilt City in the chat on Twitch. If you're watching on YouTube, then yes, we hit the 5,000 sub goal, meaning that sometimes I will be live streaming my recordings, plus potentially some extra videos as well, as long as I don't burn myself out. But thank you for being here. And thank you all for watching on YouTube as well. As usual, let's do a big shout out to our YouTube members who help support the channel and help keep this going. So, let me load that up quickly while we prepare for round 2 of game number 3. Shout out to our wonderful YouTube members of Dump Alt, Lucas Tyson, Luminosity Gaming's Are So Good Luck tonight at the time of me recording, or streaming at least, Doki Pokey, and John. Thank you for helping to support the channel. Beans starting off. A little bit indecisive. It's not decided who they're going to lock in on first. Looks like it will be the Black Panther, which has served them so well so far. Let's actually have a look at the statistics at this mid-stage. Currently, most final hits is going to be Gamebo, with 9 final hits on this Namor. Tied with Beans, also on 9, but Beans has only been taken out 3 times. Big wraparound for Beans right now. 1 snowball, and they are going into the abyss, but looks like they have not been spotted. Slux has brought out the group finally. Again, not bad at all this game. It just was not touched. The Gamma Monstro is starting to add up as Slux gets focused down, but they are healed up. The healing output is so good. Invisible Woman plus the Lunar Snow. Ugly Monkeys is taken down. Beans will fall, though. Gets punished. As is Gamebo. Affection on the other side, waiting for the opportunity to strike.
You're halfway there. Keep going.
Forced to make their way back in, looking for anyone up on that high ground. Beautiful hook. Affection. Gets pulled in! That is a wonderful force pull by the side of Fish. Setting them up, and now a lovely narrow hallway where Beans is going to get maximum effect. Picks up a double with the help of Adel in there. XLX goes down, and this is going very fast. With 2 minutes already on the clock, they make it to point number 1. 5 minutes now to make it 116 meters and 52 centimeters as BeLikeXBE seem to be trying to speedrun this. XLX, there is a bug here. They are not they are not fully charged on ultimate here. That's Magneto. Comes on in. Seonghi keeping the team topped up for the moment. And Kale sending shots down range. Straggling Prison is available for Slux. Looking for the grouped up members here. Waiting for those Magneto shields to go down if they want to pull the trigger. Knocked back with the mag cannon. Bionic Hook. Soldier's Fist. Straggling Prison. Vader both was immediately going to be dropped, but the forward lash wall is wiping them here. Trying to trap that Lunar Snow, but she is in full retreat. In the meantime, there is an extremely angry player trying to hide back here, trying to buy some extra time. The Game Bow does go down, and suddenly this might be the last push. Damage, they need to touch the point. They need to hold in their lane. It says Beans is already in their backline. 74 HP, they get 1 for 1. Xiong-Hee, keeping the team topped up. Dance of the Butterfly is available here for Game Bow. As Goddess of Death, though, is clearing up. Dance of the Butterfly, but you don't count as a body when you're in Dance of the Butterfly. Has to cancel it to make sure that they're touching the points so they have a chance. They do the clone with the Everfrost team up, but that is it. BeLikeXBE are able to push on in with so much time to spare. And with that, they take the series in a 2-1 and will be qualifying for Marvel Rivals Ignite. A well-deserved MVP for Beans. After dropping in game number 1 to Damage, BeLikeXBE are able to bring it back, and they find victory, being the newest team to qualify for Marvel Rivals Ignite. Look at the statistics here. 17 final hits for Beans. They started the round with 9. Meaning they almost just doubled it. Just in that one round. Just was finding so many pickups. 27 eliminations, 17 of which were final hits. And even top damage. Top damage goes over to Kale with 18k. And also only getting taken out 3 times along with Slux. This was BeLikeXBE's game to absolutely control. Top healing only by 1k is going to be Rira. Top damage blocked by over 5k is Slux. 34k over the 29k of Ugly Monkeys. Every single statistic was overall won by the side of BeLikeXBE, except for healing in terms of a single healer. But if you add it up, they still out-healed them. 20k on Fish compared to the 8 and 5k for Xiong-Hee Papa and for Affection. And with that, that is the end of this cast. So tomorrow, we will be starting my casts of the qualifier number 2 games that I can get my hands on. We'll be starting off with some of the earlier ones, and then moving on to whatever quarterfinal ones, because I have yet to be sent any replays, because I've yet to ask. So we're going to go ahead and start with some of the earlier ones. For those watching on the live stream, that's what I'm going to do now. I'm going to do like 1 or 2 of those, and then I'll be done for the day so I can not burn myself out and save my voice. But if you are watching on YouTube, head over to the Twitch. Follow that so you can watch when we're live. Or make sure to like, comment, and subscribe to help support these videos so that I can keep making them. I just really enjoy making this stuff. Obviously, I applied for the Marvel Rivals Caster program, and fingers crossed for that. But we are going to be getting ready for my next cast here on the live stream. You can also, of course, help by hitting that thanks button for a donation. If you're watching live, you can just send some bits, or you can subscribe to help out. For now, though, become a member as well. Missed that one. Become a member. Get your name shouted out in the YouTube videos. If we're just doing live streams, then maybe I'll shout out some subs. We'll see. We'll see what happens. For now, though, thank you all very much for watching. I have been Tetcher, and I will see you all tomorrow.